Hi, this is Kerry Artak with Wicked Stocks, bringing you an update in Bitcoin, or the Bitcoin Real-Time Index, for the week of Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025, coming off the long Labor Day weekend. This is a weekly chart. The same exact chart I'll be showing throughout. I'll be zooming in certain areas, but this covers 6-7 years of activity going back to 2018. And, most notable, if I can go back in time, is almost a year ago, November, where we closed above this 5-year channel structure that put us into kind of a new normal from my perspective, which is continued gains over time. Our overall initial objective, anyway, was 122,433. That is the full A-B count. In other words, you take the 2021 high, subtract from it the 22 low, and then add that back to the 21 high, and it's the full swing, 122,433. You can see how it's held nicely in the last few months. We had this as an objective after the November buy signal of last year. Now, what had happened is we rallied to a January high and then fell back to retest this channel top, which we did, obviously. We broke below it significantly on an intra-week basis, but we never closed back below this structure. Had we, I would have considered it a good long-term high, but instead we just sort of held to our gun, so to speak, anticipating eventual continuation to 122,433, and that is what has played out. Now, there is a rising channel top that we'd mentioned at 134,815 that if tested in the coming months, can contain buying on a seasonal, possibly annual basis. But the way things are looking now, we've got a big pause in the upward momentum. In fact, one could make the case that momentum has shifted to the downside as we continue through the rest of the year. Let me get to that actually right now. There are these channel structures. We closed below 113,047 last week. We do have this other channel structure, the sister formation at 103,824. And before I anticipate bearish continuation into the mid-80s, I really think that this is the structure that we need to close below before clarifying that as a clear 3 to 5 month or sooner objective. Now, time may show as we continue through the rest of the year and into the first quarter that last week's settlement below 113.47 was the event that may actually predict the mid 80s. So you never really know exactly how these things are going to play out, but I'm more comfortable unloading a long position and playing the short side if possible in Bitcoin on a 3 to 5 month basis if we were to then close also below 103,824.
If you're finding value in this analysis, it's only a glimpse of what we offer. Your real trading edge starts at wickedstocks.com. Each week, premium members receive 2 high-probability stock picks. Each one comes with a complete trade plan, including exact entry, profit target, stop loss, and regular updates so you can manage the trade with confidence. You'll also get daily video analysis in the top traded markets, the SPY, the Triple Q, and NVIDIA, highlighting the key price levels, trends, and trade setups we're focused on. Whether you're day trading or swing trading, these insights help you zero in on the highest quality opportunities with clarity. Try it all free for 5 days. Cancel at any time.
So in a nutshell, it would be a settlement below 103,824 that would indicate the 84,821 area. And I do still like the mid-80s as long-term support. It correlates well with that former 5-year channel top. This area, realistically, this could be 2 to 3 months, 3 to 5 months, somewhere in there. By the end of the year, might spill into early first quarter of 26 with a settlement below 103,824. But I also say that at least for the time being, up here in the 113 handle, we have a correlation between this inside channel that goes back to May. That's a 4-month structure in its own right at 113,047, and this nearer term, more horizontal structure that goes back about 6 or 8 weeks at 113,955. So, upside, if you do trade Bitcoin, this is a great area to sell Bitcoin on I'm going to say a 3 to 5 week basis or sooner. We can fall back from here to 103,824. If we then close below 103,824, like I said, we have a 3 to 5 month sell signal into the mid 80s. And so if we were to then close below 103,824, 103,824, in hindsight, we could have said and will say that it really was the settlement below the 113.955 to 113.047 area that was the indicator or the predictor of longer-term bearish continuation, but I just don't want to commit to that. I've seen too many times where these extreme channel bottoms wind up containing selling pressures, and it does correlate pretty well over time with the high settlement price of 105.11. You can there's just a lot going on here in the chart. So yes, bearish through the rest of the year with a settlement below 103.824. Until then, I think we've got through the month of September kind of a two-sided framework where you can buy 103.824 and sell the 113 handle. Should you buy 103.824 in terms of longer-term upward continuation as an assumption? I mean, you can, but just know that if we then push into the 113 handle, you may unload some, take some profits. But if we close above 113.955, then we're expecting a retest of that 122.433 area where we could top out again. Now, if we do retest 122.433, that's kind of triple top territory. And, in my book, the double top on a retest is there to violate. The triple top is less common by far than the double top. We have a double top roughly here now. So on the next attempt, you've got to be careful. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that if we do close over the next few weeks back above 113.955, and I'll be updating you this on a weekly basis, we should within a few weeks test 122.433, but the odds would then favor eventual upward continuation as we move through the rest of the year. So in terms of, let me just say, the 3 to 5 month dynamic, that we are clearly bearish below 103.824, expecting 84,821, and we turn bullish again above 113.955. I would then expect over the following, say, 3 to 5 months, this 134.815, and I can kind of redraw it right here on the chart. I didn't prepare it as such, but I can just say, that if we close back above this structure, 113.955, you see it in the yellow box, not only would I expect within several weeks 122.433, but I think outright upward continuation over the following 3 to 5 months to what is now 134.815 and climbing. So that is it in a nutshell. A sell signal through the rest of the year below 103.824, expecting the mid-80s. Buy signal through the rest of the year if we close above 113.955, anticipating some give and take on the way up at 122.433. But if we close above 113.955, I do think there's a decent chance that you can go long in anticipation of this 134.815 longer-term channel top, where we could top out on a quarterly, possibly annual basis. I think that pretty much rounds it out. I'm going to leave it at that for this week's Bitcoin analysis. You have a great week.